Welcome back to another video from 55 degrees north and to part 30 of your fortnightly Newcastle upon Tyne construction and restoration update. In this week's episode we're heading back to all your favourite sites including Pottery Lane and Pilgrim Place. Plus I've got exciting news on two brand new construction projects that could soon get underway right here in Newcastle. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Again this week, starting at the Health and Innovation neighbourhood at the former General Hospital. As you can see, sorting of crushed material is still ongoing. These are the remains of the buildings that have been demolished over the past few months. Crushing operations continue on site with excavators hard at work feeding materials into the crushing machines. This process breaks down large chunks of debris into manageable, reusable material. Over in another section, a second excavator is focused on breaking up concrete foundations, the last physical traces of structures that once stood here. Material sorting is still underway, with recyclables being separated and prepped for transport off-site. Much of what's being removed will be recycled and repurposed elsewhere. Towards the front of the site, things remain relatively unchanged since our last visit. Very little work has been carried out here so far. At what used to be the main entrance and the A&E building, internal strip-out work continues. Crews are removing fixtures and fittings, preparing this section for the next big step, full demolition. Moving over to the new students' village at Castle Leazes. Just like the General Hospital site, work here continues at full speed. The demolition phase may be long over, but there's still plenty happening on the ground. Right now, bricks and concrete from the demolished buildings are being crushed on site. You can see heavy machinery hard at work, breaking down the old structures and sorting through the rubble. An excavator is carefully separating materials and loading them into a large skip, all set for recycling. It's part of the ongoing commitment to reuse as much as possible from the original site. Moving further across the site, a loader is transporting crushed material from the crusher, while another excavator loads a dumper truck. The materials are being reused in other areas of the development. And over the top corner of the site, drilling machines have moved in to carry on with test hole drilling. This is all preparation for the next phase of construction, making sure the ground is ready and suitable for the build ahead. Finally, at the far end of the site, a bulldozer is at work, pushing crushed material into place and shaping the terrain for the coming stages of the project. Moving down into the city centre until Leazes Park Road, where the new Students Accommodation is being built, and there's been quite a bit of progress since our last update. From ground level you can see some freshly laid concrete, and it looks like drainage systems are being installed as well. There are also more pipes on site, just waiting to be fitted into place. Down at the bottom end of the site, new brick walls are starting to go up right where the concrete retaining wall was finished just a few weeks ago. Over at the older building at the bottom end of the site, you'll notice breeze block walls has climbed up another level, just one more to go before it's topped off completely. And finally, after what feels like months, the long standing trench has finally been filled in again, a sure sign things are moving forward. Down at Strawberry Place, right by the metro station, where work has officially started up again. After a short pause, the site is buzzing with activity as preparations kick off for the brand new advertisement boards being installed here. You can really notice the progress. Quite a bit more groundwork has already been completed since our last visit, and if you look right at the front of the site, you'll spot these wooden moulds that have been set up and all ready for the next phase, pouring in the concrete. It's great to see the momentum picking up again. We'll be keeping an eye on this space and bringing you more updates as things develop. Moving across the road to St James's Boulevard, where they're building the new Students Accommodation. Work at the back of the site is almost complete now. The main block is finished. We just have a small patch of brickwork left to go before it's totally wrapped up. Over at the front, the pavement is nearly done too. Just a few small sections left before the entire entrance area is finished and ready to welcome new students. Moving down to Pottery Lane, checking in on the latest progress at the site of the new apartment blocks. Looking across the development from the Redcliffe Bridge, you get a great perspective of how far things have come since our last update. Much like previous weeks, you'll notice that most of the structure is still wrapped in scaffolding, but if you look closely down the side, you can see the very first signs of brickwork starting to take shape. Now moving down onto Pottery Lane itself and focusing on what's being called Building 1, there's been quite a bit of progress here too. You can now see more cladding going up and plenty of new window frames have been installed. There's also quite a bit of construction material stacked and ready to go, all part of the next stages of the build. I've also added a couple of photos from the developer's website so you can get a better idea of what's happening inside the apartment blocks during construction. These give us a rare look behind the scenes and really help visualise the interior progress. Over near one of the site entrances, a small concrete pad has also been poured, likely in preparation for up-and-coming site logistics or utility access. Across the site at Building 2, it's a similar story. More cladding, more windows and steady progress all around. In front of Building 2, a long trench has been dug out, potentially for services or drainage, and there are also stacks of bricks ready to be used in the next phase of construction. So that's the latest from Pottery Lane. Progress is steady and it's great to see the site starting to take shape week by week. Moving back up to the Pilgrim Place development here at Carlisle Square. It's been just 2 weeks since our last update and you'll see a lot has moved on since then. Taking a look across the entire site, you can really see the progress taking shape in multiple areas. Down at the lower end, where steel reinforcement was just being installed in our last video, you can now see it's been fully encased in concrete, a solid sign of things moving forward. Reinforcement work has now shifted over to the far side, where a fresh round of steel is being put into place. And check this out, there's plenty of concrete being poured at various locations around the site. That constant activity means things are quickly taking shape. Over here, the prefabricated stair units are still waiting to be lifted into place. These should be getting installed soon. Across on the other side, the team is busy erecting the girders around the first core lift shaft. The structure is now expanding around the far side of that shaft. And over the second core lift shaft, you can see brackets are now in place, ready and waiting for the next set of girders to be attached. And now we're taking a look at the latest progress on the new His Majesty's Revenue and Customs site, and things are really taking shape. With most of the main structure now complete, the focus has shifted to the final external works. Over on the new Bridge Street side, crews are busy laying down fresh paving, and if you look closely, you'll spot newly planted greenery in the raised planters, giving the area a nice touch of life. Further down on John Dobson Street, the concrete has now been poured into the stair moulds, revealing the completed steps we've seen being prepped in earlier videos. A big milestone ticked off. Most of the wall here now has received its final coat of paint, really helping to bring the whole site together visually. Just around the corner of Market Street, there are still a few finishing touches left, with the last few bits of coving awaiting completion on the lower corner of the building. The standout details has to be the restoration of the original wooden door frames on the old Carlisle House facade. It's great to see they're keeping a bit of historic character alive. And finally, at the top of Market Street near Pilgrim Street Junction, the new pavement works are almost complete, bringing a fresh, modern look to the area. Now moving on to Ellison Place, where they're building the new Space Skills and Technology Centre, and there's definitely been some movement since our last visit. From a distance, the main structure still looks very much the same as it did in the last video, but there's a lot happening behind the scenes, and some key additions are starting to take shape. Looking closer down the side of the site, you can see several steel girders lying on the ground. They are lined up and ready to be lifted into place. so we can expect more of the framework to go up very soon. Along the front of the building there's now a low concrete wall running the length of the structure, built right along the bottom edge of the steel frame. It's a small but important step as they prepare the base structure for further work. Around the other side, if we zoom in, we can finally start to see the internal layout taking shape. It's great to see it all coming together. And finally, take a look at these sheets of steel reinforcement lying ready on the ground. These will be used for the individual floors, and once they're in place, concrete will be poured on top to lock everything in. And now for the two projects I mentioned in the introduction to the video. One is a historic gem that might finally get the attention it deserves, and the other, well, let's just say it involves more students' accommodation. First up, the cooperage. This historic building on Newcastle's quayside is one of the oldest in the city, dating all the way back to the 15th century. After years of neglect and falling into a sad state of disrepair, the cooperage has finally been put up for sale. While it's heartbreaking to see such a historic site left to crumble, there's now hope that the new owner will step in and restore it to its former glory. Fingers crossed we see a full-scale restoration that brings this medieval treasure back to life. It's a piece of Newcastle's history that absolutely deserves saving. Now on to the second project, and yes, it's more student accommodation. This time it's planned for Argyle Street, right beside Manners metro station. The site has been sitting vacant for around 2 years after a previous housing scheme was abandoned. Newcastle City Council recently described the area as being in a very poor state. The land was originally set to become 24 houses back in 2019, but after the developer, the Tyne group, went into liquidation earlier this year, those plans were scrapped. Now, Lock Developments have stepped in with a new proposal, a 6-storey student complex featuring 110 beds, a mix of studios and cluster flats. The plan also includes improvements to the street, like widening the footpath along Argyle Street, and that's at least something positive in terms of public space. Now for a quick roundup of the smaller but still very interesting projects happening around the city right now. First up, it's the ongoing pavement improvement works on Northumberland Street. Yep, still going. Most of the action seems to be happening in the middle of the street, but to be honest, there's not much visible progress since our last video, aside from the holes getting deeper. It's one of those projects that looks like it's going to drag on. It's already been pushed back to spring-summer 2026, which means over a year and a half just to repave a street. Meanwhile, the new Lloyds Bank has finally opened. They've spent months converting the old Sports Direct store, and it's now up and running. As per the old bank building they vacated on Grey Street, no word yet on what's happening there. Dare I say it? More students' accommodation? Wouldn't be a shock. Over at the Northern Goldsmiths, restoration work continues on the iconic facade and the Golden Lady clock. The shop itself is also getting a full refit, which is great to see. It's a beautiful part of the city that definitely deserves the care. Moving further down Pilgrim Street to the Gotham Hotel project, it's still ticking along. It's currently aiming for a September opening, so not too far off now. Now, the city's second stack venue was supposed to open back in May, but so far, still no signs of life. We'll keep an eye on it and let you know when things start moving. And finally, the new Newcastle Building Society location looks just about ready. There's paper on the windows and barriers in front of the doors, so safe to say, opening day isn't far off. Before I wrap up this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about all the construction and restoration happening around Newcastle right now. If you've enjoyed the update, please give the video a massive thumbs up, as it really helps the channel grow. And if you've not already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you never miss a future update. A huge thank you for watching. See you next time on 55 Degrees North.